So if I'm correct, it normally ends on then map 4, that will be Cascade, and CarlJr has a 9-point average, or he had a 9-point average on Saturday, so maybe CarlJr is the favorite looking at this map order at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, with it ending on either Cascade or Krompolc, if I remember correctly, also OmnipotZ had a good map on Cascade, and he was not as looking as good on Krompolc itself. So it'll be interesting to see how his game then fares, as well as, of course, you want to end on a map you're good on. You don't want to be close to going on to a map which may be your worst. So, but as again, to get to this stage, as Kappa was saying, you need 5 good maps. You don't get to this stage if you're, you know, scared of a map and you're not performing well on it. So, but we do have Rise Up coming in. What do you think are going to be the times we're going to be seeing, you know, as close to the grand final as at least we're going to be casting?
Wow, that's a good question, but I honestly don't know. I expect the very top times to be set around maybe 3/10 behind the world record, maybe even 2/10 behind the world record. I'm pretty sure every single round will have a fast time for the 10 players. That's for the 10 points. I mean, that's for sure. If you want to get 10 points in this match, you just have to go for it. There's no other way.
And we're going to see who's going to go for it the most. We're going to start off with CarlJr here. Of course, again, many have him as a favourite to take the title itself. OmnipotZ makes a first big mistake there. Gets a little bit of a no-slide when trying to transition up the hill there. And now it's DanikB, Pac and CarlJr here. Pac gets much more speed through the entry of that, but Danik with the alternate line does switch back on him. And now they're side by side with CarlJr getting left behind a little bit here. Pac taking a lot of risk going through there. Travels more distance, but with more speed here. Pac trying to keep ahead of Danik here. Danik had to release just slightly there. He's a bit too close to the outside. Get a perfect view here as CarlJr tries to reel in these players, but they are going so fast here through this section. Pac with a bit of an awkward exit. This will mean Danik does have a chance to catch up, and also Danik with a better entry here. It's going to be side by side coming into the final turn here. Carl may also be able to have a say in it, but who's going to jump lower? It's going to be Pac. He takes it with a 103.99, and that's a great round to start us off with. Top 3 being separated by less than a tenth, and that's the kind of pace we want to see continuing here. But do you think they can do it even faster?
I expected the times to be a bit faster, but I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be corrected maybe already in this next round. So because 0.99 isn't the top time I would expect from these guys, but yeah, it was an opening round and it was so close. No one wanted to start the winner bracket final with a mistake, and no one else except OmnipotZ did. So yeah, the guys are very focused.
Yeah, for sure. And OmnipotZ has survived that mistake without making a mistake. Survived that section without making a mistake now. And now Pac, however, still moving into this section, up in the lead. However, he's been hunted down by his old nemesis, his old teammate, CarlJr, of course. DanikB also wants a part of this battle, and he has a beautiful section there to bring himself onto the tails of CarlJr and Pac. But now he's in the close-up, trying to catch up here, and Pac actually makes a mistake. Danik has much more speed going through there, but has to negate it to make sure he doesn't crash into the wall. CarlJr has the advantage going into the final turn, but DanikB diving inside, going for a low jumper, both players. But there we go, there's some faster times for us. A 103.8 and a 103.9 being done by Danik. OmnipotZ does not finish though. That's a big blow at the start for OmnipotZ, and he seemed to be losing some of that consistency we were talking about. Do you think maybe that's just the opposition that he's being put in front of now? Maybe he's being pressured to put up a little bit more top times, Kappa?
Absolutely, I think that's a very good point of view on that, and it's he just has to play a bit faster, because getting his consistent times would bring him maybe 4 points every single round, which is just not enough. And as I say, yeah, there's another mistake from OmnipotZ, and this is a disastrous start to the match, and he will have already a very hard time catching up.
Yeah, for sure, and especially against this level of opposition. This isn't the level of opposition which is going to make a lot of mistakes to give you room to get back into this match. And DanikB also fighting very closely with these players. Does find himself third in points after 2 rounds, but is going to be very close here to the top to perhaps gain himself 10 here. Gets a lot more speed on the downhill than Pac, and overtakes now. CarlJr actually overtakes Pac as well. It's going to be side by side. They're inside each other going through here. Who's going to risk it most in the ending? It's so close. Less than 100 of a second between Carl and Pac, but Carl takes another 10 points there, and that's beautiful times up at the top. But again, they can get faster, and that's what we want to see. We want to see if OmnipotZ can start trying to keep up here, but Danik still holding on and still driving very fast here, but not getting the points he needs. So let's see who has the extra 10%, who has the extra mileage they can put into this match and just get those extra 1% you need for these sort of times. At the moment we're seeing Regu high 103s, and that is certainly very strong here. We're seeing people dipping into the 103.7s as well. OmnipotZ finding himself at the back of this pack here. He really needs to start picking up the pace here and stop making some mistakes. But now Danik also finds himself a little bit far behind this field here. Pac also makes a slight blunder there, has to adjust his line. But you can see here OmnipotZ and Danik risking for it. Don't get as much speed on exit through here. They're going to have to go all out through this remaining section if they're going to get any more than 4 points. Pac and CarlJr are the ones fighting for the lead. Carl and Pac both get a little bit of airtime. Oh, sorry, Pac and DanikB, sorry. And CarlJr up here in first place at the moment. Looks as if he'll be more comfortable going through this final turn. Still actually goes a little bit safer there. Still gets the 103.9. A little bit of a slower round there. The players maybe not nailing it as much as they were previously. But I'm sure CarlJr won't care. That's another 10 points for him. And is this back to expected for CarlJr, do you think?
Yeah, after finishing third in the first round, he started playing very consistently, and his worst time since then was, I think, 0.993 or something. So yeah, his consistency is insane right now. He's not setting that fast times. I maybe was expecting something like 1/10 faster, but hey, it wasn't needed yet. So yeah, he's in the lead and already running away from DanikB, for example, who is playing good, but it's not enough. I mean, I was talking about it in the winner bracket semifinal that for Danik is crucial if he can handle those close rounds. You know that there will always be Carl or Pac on the top, and it's up on Danik if he can win those decisive turns in the ending of the tracks. You know.
And at the moment he is looking very good to do that. However, he has been hunted down by CarlJr here, and hunted down to less than 2/200 of a second even, and Carl actually overtakes going into the final turn, but DanikB is going to dive in. Is he going to go for a lower jump? It's going to be so close again, but
and again,
once again Carl takes less than 100 of a second. And that's just quality shining through, that Carl can always come back to you no matter how the gap was there. I think it was up to 2/10 or something like that there from Danik. And as we were saying, it's not as if Danik's not driving good times. He's doing near enough Regu 0.9s there as well. But it's exactly as you're saying there. You need to find that extra 10% going into there. But I mean, that was still a really close match between all of those players. You have map 2 though. Weird flex.
And I have to repeat myself again. This is the main difference between Danik from the semifinal and Danik from the final so far, because in the semifinal he was able to win those rounds by a few hundreds, few thousands sometimes, you know. And now he's getting overtaken all the time by Carl, and sometimes it's not only his fault, you know. You basically can't do much about it if someone is a few thousands faster than you, but it's very decisive because of the point distribution in Cup mode. So yeah, that's why Carl is running away from the others.
Yeah, but I think it's safe to say that only going through one map and then talking about how DanikB is struggling may not be a fair representation going through this. He's still, of course, performing really well to get to himself the points he's going on. And I suppose I would look at it in the same way we were talking about OmnipotZ previously, that as long as he keeps close and keeps getting these good times, then really, I suppose he's always going to be in the match. But What can we expect times-wise, do you think, from Weird Flex, Eirik?
0.6 is still like the best times they did in the winner bracket, the semifinals. I mean, OmnipotZ had 0.65, DanikB had 0.65, Pac had 0.65, and CarlJr had 0.67 as the best times. But Pac had 0.56 yesterday, so maybe Pac is the fastest one here, but you still need to drive consistent as CarlJr is doing at the moment. 44 points out of 50 points on map 1. That is ridiculous in a winner bracket final.
Yeah, and I suppose CarlJr is one of those players that the deeper he gets into the tournament, it just feels like he's playing better. As I suppose it's always a daunting thing to go up against, but at the moment he does find himself in 4th place, but I suppose if anyone can recover the gap, it is him. But making some little more mistakes here. However, does get a lot of speed through that, and he will actually be able to overtake OmnipotZ here, and OmnipotZ once again makes a mistake, perhaps going to stay rooted to the scoreboard here. But now the battle is between DanikB and Cap here. DanikB with a beautiful session going through there, but just too much speed. Going to have to go for the safe route here, and it's going to be a battle between Pac and CarlJr. Pac does have 2/10 of a lead here and should be able to hold on to this very wide there, though. He's going to give Carl a way back in here as Carl gets a much better line through the ending. Who's going to have more speed? It looks like Pac. And he does hold on with a 103.68, and that's a great time to start us off.
Yeah, 0.6 is what we want to see and what we expect from players like these, and that is a good 10-pointer for Pac. Yeah, maybe that's a very positive start to a new map for him, and yeah, he's escaping DanikB.
Yeah, for sure. 11 points now between Pac and DanikB. Again, top 2 in this. This is the winner bracket final, of course. Top 2 in this will go through to the grand final. Bottom 2 will go into the consolidation final. So there will be prize money for all players involved here, but when you're a player at this level of competition, I suppose you want to be the very best and be regarded as the very best. So maybe even in some cases the prize money can perhaps take a 2nd place for some of these players, but nevertheless, starting off very well in this round. We're both Carl and Danik, but Carl dropping down very slightly here. OmnipotZ also again having trouble kind of keeping up a little bit here. Danik goes really wide here. He's going to go far outside, so that means he's going to switch back on himself and have a really good exit here. But Pac risks it, and he actually draws level with Danik here, going through this long right-hander and getting Pac going for maximum exit speed here. Doesn't yet overtake Pac here, however, Danik all the way to the outside gives Pac, and he has so much speed and overtakes with another 0.65, and Danik has to settle for 2nd place with a 0.7. Carl with a 7.6 in 3rd, and OmnipotZ the 0.89 and last there. What a race up at the top though, but Pac draws even closer to CarlJr. And do you think Pac maybe just having a kind of slow start here is just going to build some good momentum? Is that something you typically see from Pac, or is that just, you think maybe he likes this map a bit more?
Well, I think Pac in general is a bit more risky player than Carl, for example. Like you can see Carl plays consistently. Maybe his top times in match are like 1/10 slower than Pac's, but Pac can, you know, struggle a little bit on one map and then he can win all rounds on the other track, so you should never really count him out. And yeah, he's shining on this one so far. He's already in the lead in this round.
We are seeing OmnipotZ up here near the top, and he has some very good lines and good times in his repertoire here, and he's certainly not out of this match just yet. Of course, we are only in map 2 here, and he's almost going for the same line Pac does, and it's paying off well for him as well as he moves into 1st place here, and he has a lot of speed going through here, keeps himself on track, and this is going to be a 10 points for OmnipotZ. And what a time there, a 103.55.
Wow. Jesus.
And look at that, a 65 getting you 3rd place. How much faster can these people go on this? And I think that might even just be the fastest time. And OmnipotZ just throws down the gauntlet there and says he is not yet done with this match. He might be on 31 points, but he still has a lot in the tank. And that is what you would expect from a player of his quality. What a stellar round there from the Frenchman. But here we go, it is time to see if he can keep that kind of pace up, as of course that was only 1/10 of ahead of his 2nd and 3rd place opponent, so that is a lot of pressure to keep up that kind of level of pace, and he is nearly 2/10 ahead of that time at the moment. I don't know what kind of round he is on, what kind of, I don't know if he's just entered into another gear here, but maybe starting to feel a little bit more comfortable, and he is looking really good in this round so far. And Pac's made a big mistake so far. And now CarlJr. and DanikB have to try and catch up to OmnipotZ here. He was called epic for a reason. He is number 1 in this round so far. Goes really wide through there. CarlJr.'s going to have a chance to catch up. Is he going to be able to translate that to 10 points? He's got speed, but OmnipotZ still has the first place. Who's going to take it? OmnipotZ takes it once again. Wow. A 103.61, and he gains 10 points. CarlJr. does get second in Pac. I thought he nearly didn't finish there as I just cut to him at the ending, but what a recovery there from Epic in those 2 rounds.
Yeah, but there was another mistake from Pac, like two rounds in a row already with a mistake. But that's the thing, you know, with this point system, with the point distribution, you can afford crashing sometimes, as long as you win those 10 pointers, you know, because if you win 3 rounds and then get twice 3-pointer, it's still 36 points, which is a good result, you know. And that's basically how Pac plays in matches like these.
For sure. You see Pac is still in a good position here. Still second place. Actually closed in quite a lot on Carl and these in this map at the very least. And we see DanikB, who is still fighting to keep himself in the safe spots for the grand final, is still performing well round upon round here. And these top 2 players are again on magnificent times here in this round. Pac just once again extending a little bit of a lead going through this section. He seems to like this ending very much. Danik goes for a lot of speed going through here, trying to give himself a chance in this round against Pac, but Pac just seems to have it all in the palm of his hands, going past the palm tree, and look at that, 103.46. How must you be feeling if you're DanikB? You do a 54 and you're 1/10 behind. What can you do about that? I mean,
that's the 2 fastest match times so far in the tournament. Imagine getting 6 points for driving its second fastest time in the tournament.
Yeah, that's incredible. But I mean, we do get a little bit of time to breathe here going into Siphon Blur. But I mean, if you were DanikB's coach in this time, Kappa, what would you be saying to him when he's consistently running what we would expect to be winning times, and he's still getting second place, he's getting third place? What can you say to someone in that kind of case?
Well, there's not much you can say, but he just has to continue what he's doing, because with times like 0.4 or 0.5 on weird flag, that's the level of times that will pay off eventually, you know. So you just have to accept the fact that there's someone like Pac from the United Kingdom who just clocks in at 0.4 and doesn't care about what you have, you know. So you just have to deal with it and focus on the following rounds. There's nothing else you can do with that, because in Trackmania you basically can't influence the others. As Eirik said, we can't crash into the others, so you just have to do your thing and try to be just as good in the next round. There's not much you can do else. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, moving on to Siphon Blur, we have seen pretty much, again, all players have performed pretty decently here, but what I was talking about previously, now that you kind of need that extra half a tenth, you need that extra 10, do you think anyone will go for the inside pole here?
Maybe OmnipotZ. That would be just a guess. We have to see. I didn't see Danik and OmnipotZ in the practice, and I don't remember if they performed it in the previous match. But let's see. Yeah, it's OmnipotZ. Only OmnipotZ.
That's 2 times in a row you've predicted the only person to go for the inside line. But there we go. We actually have Pac also. I mean, he went from 0 to 0 in the space of 2 rounds there, making a mistake after running a really almost inhuman time there. But now also Danik dropping slight bit further behind here. OmnipotZ also behind the CP, but gains so much speed with his alternate line going through there that he does bring himself back into contention with CarlJr. here. CarlJr. does have a little bit of an advantage coming through the middle section of this track here. Danik is definitely not far enough behind to not have an impact on this round here. And we see here OmnipotZ and makes a big mistake there, just trying a bit too hard to keep the gear there, and does fall all the way down to last position. It looks like CarlJr. is comfortable up here at the top. Let's see what kind of time he's going to pull out here as he goes through the final turn into the jump at the ending, and it is a 102.3. A 102.5 for Danik, netting him 6 points, which I think he'd be quite grateful with here. But, I mean, Eirik, how do those times match up with what we've been seeing through the other matches?
Well, in the match previously, because CarlJr got 0.16 as the best, Pac got 0.17 as the best, DanikB got 0.10 as the best, and OmnipotZ got 0.18. So you're looking at 0.1s here for a winning time.
So I guess, again, yeah, Danik will be quite grateful that with a 0.5, he managed to rescue 6 points from that, and by beating Pac, he does also draw himself that slight bit closer to him. Of course, we do have the 120 points limit here, so you are going to have players having essentially more of a chance to use more rounds to get back into it, but certainly Pac is shooting himself in the foot here. He went a little bit too close there, and where he crashed, he will not be able to finish. That is all possible points gone for Pac, and now this is a prime opportunity for DanikB and OmnipotZ to catch up, and you can see maybe DanikB's realised that he's turned into the upper gear. He's going for it in this. He is trying to take the full 10-pointer here. He manages to keep the gear. OmnipotZ did not, and you see how much time that loses him here. DanikB still in the lead here, gets a little bit of a wide jump, but he should be able to keep first place here. He's really wide going through here. Can CarlJr catch up with a wide line? Danik chokes the ending, and CarlJr is going to say thank you very much. He's going to take that 0.2 there, and DanikB is going to get second place, the 106.6, and OmnipotZ getting third place. And just when all that pressure comes together, DanikB just chokes in the final turn and threw away that 10 points. And, I mean, that's a lot of points to throw away, but he does, again, still bring himself that little bit closer because of that mistake from Pac. Yeah, I mean, OmnipotZ off to a really good start here. He performed that little technique expertly, and you can see how he is about half a car length ahead of everyone else. And we've seen how tight these rounds can be, how much that can mean. Everyone survives going through that part now. And let's see who's going to make it further in this. Who's going to survive to get the top 10 points here? It seems a lot of players are making mistakes. Danik goes a little bit too wide there. He's going to lose some time. But this is a much faster round than the ones we've seen previously. We're seeing CarlJr ahead of his 0.2, yet still more than a tenth behind here. OmnipotZ and Pac both going for it up in the top two. They're side by side here. Both on fantastic times. The OmnipotZ committing a bit more going through the final sections. And the alien is going to take first place with a 102.05, and what an incredible round there. A 102.22 being your last time there. One of the best rounds we have seen on this map easily, but wow, what a performance there in that round by OmnipotZ, and the 10 points is well deserved there, but what a time there. And you must feel good, Kappa, when you do have a close round like that and you still get the 10 points when you see everyone was so close behind you.
Of course, there's nothing better than that, but those are usually the rounds that are the most decisive in the ending, because the 10-pointer from a round like that is super valuable, you know. Those are the rounds that make the difference. Like, everyone can play a few very, very good rounds, and if you get additional 10 points from that, that's yeah, like a gift.
Mm-hmm. But one person who was at least the last person in that little match up there for the insane round we had last time is now heading up the field here, and he's on a faster time as well. Pac risking to try and catch up. It looks as if we're going to have another close one going into the ending. Pac and Carl now going toe to toe. Carl has a tiny bit more speed, but who's going to risk it in the ending? It's going to be Carl with a 102.19, and once again spectacular times up at the top, and really they're just going unimaginably close to the walls, risking it as much as they can, and Carl staying consistent around a 0.1 and 0.2 is really an inhuman pace here, and showing why he deserves to be in the lead here with 100 points within 2 rounds of finalist here. He's going to be setting himself up well for what might be his final map here, as he's now final map next round, as we see Pac makes an early mistake here. Carl also gets a little bit of a bump there from the transition going back onto the tarmac, and now OmnipotZ wants to take this chance to get another 10 points on the board here. Goes extremely wide, somehow survives here. I think those alien wheels are a bit wider than I expected, otherwise he would have been off there, but CarlJr moves up to first place again on a beautiful pace, a stellar pace up here at the top. Only Danik is managing to hold firm here up at the top as OmnipotZ has dropped a little bit further behind here. Carl goes for a little bit of a different line here. DanikB drops down very slightly, but he's risking going for the inside line through that right-hander, and now he's trying to catch up to Carl in the ending, but it looks as if the three-time World Champion is going to hold strong for his third great round in a row and his second 10-pointer in a row. And what a pace there by Carl to end out that map. 102.2s and 0.1s everywhere you look. And that is Carl within one round of finalist here. And he has definitely switched up the pace here from the previous match he played, where Danik actually managed to get the better of him. So, incredible performance so far by CarlJr. Do you think he can keep it up on Cascade?
Who do you mean?
Well, either one of you. I mean, what
We're too shy to talk. We're too in awe of this level of the match. But this is actually one of the better maps for CarlJr. The highest he has done. Point or plus 40 points, I believe, in all of the 3 matches he played yesterday on this map. So certainly not the worst map for CarlJr. At least to be a potential finalist on.
What do you think, Kappa? How do you see it going?
The gap is already big enough. I mean, we were talking about gaps in the previous match where it was 15 points and I said it's nothing. Well, even 15 points gap would be quite a big one when you have to deal with CarlJr. You know, like cutting off any points from his lead is very difficult, and it's already 23 points ahead of Pac, and even like 36 ahead of Danik, which is almost impossible for Danik to win the match at this point. So I can really see Carl closing it out very quickly, and then we will probably see a good fight on this one for the second place, because if I remember correctly, this was the first map of the winner bracket semifinal where Danik really shined through. So this could be a very good map for Danik, and it definitely isn't over for the second slot.
And what sort of pace do you think we'll expect from these players? What have they shown so far, Eirik?
Sorry, what?
What kind of pace have these players shown so far on this map? What should we expect?
I mean, in the CarlJr. drove a 0.3 in the last match, and that was 0.2 better than any other player. So if you do a 0.3, then he's certain of getting that win. But 0.5 and 0.4 is what you're looking at for a potential winning time.
Yeah, for sure, and we see CarlJr. is the one in the lead here at the moment, but gets a very wide line. He will be able to translate that to more speed on this uphill. Danik, however, getting a close inside line, meaning he's able to keep up, and actually CarlJr. kind of doing a little bit of a position roulette there with OmnipotZ and Danik here, and they're all on great times here. Pac, the furthest one behind, finds himself about a 10th.5 behind, but that's certainly not too far behind that he can't do anything, especially with the players having so much trouble in the ending on this map. But will we see the same in such a high level of competition? I think that was Pac making a mistake there, as now CarlJr., OmnipotZ and DanikB are going to be going for it, but DanikB just bites off a little bit more than he can chew, with CarlJr. going really wide up there in the top, but he will get more speed. OmnipotZ with an awkward ending, he gets sniped by Pac at the ending as a result, but still great times there, and a 0.4 being done there by CarlJr. to secure himself finalist. Kappa, do you think he's going to do it in one?
He definitely could. He will have a good round beat, but I feel like Carl is really playing consistently, so he will just do his thing, and if the time is fast enough, well, then it is, but he has a lot of room to work with, so if it's not the round number 1, then he will definitely close it out in the following ones. I'm not worried about Carl.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Carl might be the most nervous person about Carl, I suppose. Everyone knows him as one of the coolest heads in the game, and he is showing why he is known as one of the best players in the game, of course, as he is in the lead once again. And he's in the lead in the match by quite a big margin here. The closest person to him being on 93 points so far. And CarlJr., however, as we talk so much about, makes a mistake. Now, well, of course, this isn't going to be so bad for him, as all of the other players are not within finalist range of him. He still wants to deny as much points as possible, so he will not be too happy about making such a big mistake. But OmnipotZ, Danik, And Pac will be relishing this opportunity to get 10, but Pac, being the furthest behind here, tries to risk it going through here. Who's going to have the best ending? It looks as if DanikB takes it. OmnipotZ second and Pac third there. So a great 10 points gain for Danik, and as a result of OmnipotZ splitting up him and Pac, that means also that Danik gains a great amount of points to Pac. Only 10 points separate them. That's essentially one finalist attempt here. But CarlJr on his second attempt here. He's got so many attempts in the bag here at the moment. You can only think that his position in the grand final is secure. However, you never know. Trackmania constantly throws up surprises such as OmnipotZ teleporting all over, living up to being an alien car there, an unidentified flying object through the map. But Pac has a little bit of an awkward drift entry into there. Didn't leave himself enough room here. And CarlJr also struggling here, finding himself just under 2/10 behind, but he is always capable of bringing back these sort of gaps, but needs to start picking up the pace there. He's got 3 players to go through if he wants to get a good one. Yeah, you can see he's risky, you can see he's going that little bit closer, and he's reeling them in, but the question is, can he reel them in time? Doesn't get a lot of speed from there, so he's going to lose back some of the positions that he's gained, and now it's going to be a 3-horse race. Pac, OmnipotZ and Danik. Can CarlJr bring himself back into this battle? He doesn't get the gear, so he might have some trouble here, but the final turn remains here. He's going full inside, but who's going to take it into the ending? OmnipotZ flies out, and Pac failed it, but DanikB survived, and that's going to be Danik getting another 10 points here, and Carl managed to snipe Pac, which means Danik gets even closer to Pac now. And Pac is getting killed by these players in the ending, which means, of course, that he is still only within 2 rounds of finalists. So Carl, while he might be having some issues in these rounds, he's still going to be happy because Pac is still very far behind and very far out of range, but Danik is getting closer.
Yeah, Danik is definitely doing really well on this track once again, and he has to use it to maybe even overtake Pac, which would be very beneficial for him. And so far it's just 4 points of difference, so that's nothing. It's still very, very open for.
And we do see actually CarlJr making a mistake as well early on, so once again finds himself 2/10 behind, so no doubt the risk going to be turned back on there, but OmnipotZ also crashes. DanikB's lost a little bit of time. Is this finally going to be Pac making up more ground than DanikB? It looks like he's on a good time here. Should be just enough though, as CarlJr and Danik have both had some small blunders and finding himself a little bit further behind. Meanwhile, coming through the ending, CarlJr and Danik make some massive mistakes there, and Pac should have an easy 10 points here, and he will for 106.5. DanikB has to settle for 3rd place here as OmnipotZ moves ahead and into 2nd there, which I'm sure he'll be glad of, but he still has a lot of work to be doing here so he can catch up and get himself within the finalist range here, as the only one within 1 round of finalist is Pac here. But CarlJr, a bit uncharacteristically here, has been making a lot of mistakes in these rounds, so we're going to keep our eye on him to see if he can manage to keep a clean round here. We slate him as being the highest performer on this, with the best time, a 0.3 being driven. OmnipotZ certainly isn't going to be able to do anything about that as he makes a big mistake early, but maybe CarlJr's had enough. He's already a 10th ahead of his opponents here, and with more speed going up the hill. Pac trying to go for an inside line, risking to try and catch up, and he's done that successfully. I think this is one of the rounds where the times are starting to heat up and they're starting to go faster and faster, except Pac makes a small mistake there, miscalculated his initiation, which means Danik will move ahead. But CarlJr is the story here. 1st place in the round, 1st place in the match. Is he going to be the first person in the grand final here as he moves into the final sections here? Danik's catching up slightly here, manages to keep the gear. It's going to be close going into the final turn. Half a 10th remaining. Is Danik going to get it? Is Carl going to get a clean ending? He will, but Danik has to settle for 2nd with a 106.398, and what a run there from CarlJr. And you must say he definitely closed that off in style, but again, DanikB with a sick time having to settle for 2nd, but 0.3's coming out for your final round. What more could you ask for a finalist round?
Jesus Christ, but yeah, Carl in the end had to risk it a little bit, and the 0.38 is the result of that, which is an incredibly fast match time. Yeah, Danik was there again. Unfortunately, losing that close round, which is kind of a storyline for this whole match for him. But yeah, he just has to refocus and go for the second place. And even OmnipotZ is still in there, like 90 points. That's still something you can work with.
And one of the things also we've been seeing from this is a bit of an alternate line choice from Pac. It was actually the first time I'd seen it when he done it in the warm-up, is when he goes inside both sections there. And you see he does maybe keep a little bit equal, but I suppose it's one of those ones where he's mostly doing what's comfortable for him rather than it being much faster. But, I mean, Eirik, we've not really seen this match in the upper bracket so far. But what information can you give us about Krompolc and maybe any hinters for what we can expect?
Well, we've talked a little bit about it, like when we talk about should players play their own map, and we said that this is actually OmnipotZ's worst map, even though he built it. Looking at the times we can expect here, the best times, as far as I know, is from Pac, at least yesterday, was 0.12. So if you do 0.3, I think you should take a top 3 here. Let's see. Match is insane so far, so anything can happen.
OmnipotZ just done a 0-9.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow. And don't forget, this is OmnipotZ's map, so he might feel a bit more confident on it, and we could really see the comeback from OmnipotZ.
Yeah, it's all a conspiracy. He was just smurfing up until this point. We're going to check out OmnipotZ here from the start here. He is on 90 points here, so he needs to start winning some rounds. He needs to start putting the pressure on Pac and DanikB. But what a time. That's the fastest time in this map so far. And me talking about Pac's inside line does cost him here. And if he stays third place, he will not be finalist. That's going to be golden for Danik, as even if he gets second, he'll be within one round of finalist. And OmnipotZ has the opportunity to get himself that little bit closer to securing a position in the grand final. A reminder, even if you're bottom 2, you will not be eliminated. You will just simply be put down to the consolidation bracket. A top 6 position is secure for each and every one of these players. OmnipotZ, though, is ruling the roost on his own track. It's all a scam, ladies and gentlemen. He's prepared for this, and he is on a stellar time here at the moment. Danik, perhaps realising his gap to OmnipotZ at the moment, is just maybe safing a little bit, as he knows he's far ahead of Pac here at the moment, and he will be within finalist range if he gets the second place. But let's keep an eye on OmnipotZ through the ending, see what sort of time he ends us up with here, which should be a great one, as he secures a 105.36. Not quite as fast as his warm-up, but still a very fast time to start off, and showing how he means to go on. But what a round there for OmnipotZ in the warm-up there and the start. But we still don't have any finalists there. Do you think we're going to see 2 finalists going into the next round, Kappa?
I don't think that's gonna happen. I think OmnipotZ is not done yet. He's gonna win another round. Wow, what is that inside line? I haven't seen that before, but okay, back. Oh yeah, that's what you meant. All right. I thought you meant the following turn with the pole on the ground, but never mind. Pac is on a mad run at the moment, and yeah, that's basically typical Pac. Like, he either crashes or goes for an insane time, which is very hard to match, which usually means 10-pointer.
Oh, and OmnipotZ shaking a little bit going through here, but Pac and DanikB are certainly not. DanikB with a massive amount of speed going through here, and he's going to be on a great time. Pac had a spectacular start, but can he match the kind of pace that DanikB's putting down here? Danik with a bit more of an inside landing there, so he should have an advantage. And OmnipotZ dives in out of nowhere. He's not done in this round either. He's going to come into the final corner here. DanikB goes for some speed, and he'll be able to keep first place, no doubt. But
double finalist.
There we go. I said, could it happen? And it turns out I'm the expert in this case. DanikB manages to win the round, and second place goes to Pac. We have 2 finalists to decide who's going to go for the grand final. Are we going to see OmnipotZ denying it? Are we going to see Pac or DanikB securing a spot? What are we thinking? Pac is going to have to start off his first finalist attempt off the back of some really poor performances on this map, it must be said. But we check him as he goes for the inside lines. It's so close to the walls, but as again, it doesn't look to be as if it's saving him that much time, especially as he doesn't gain so much speed going through the inside line the second part. But it is all or nothing for OmnipotZ now if he wants to get a grand final spot in the first time of asking, in the winner bracket final, or if he's having to go through the consolidation final. Will his own map be betraying him, or will it be saving him here in this case, as Pac is still in the lead here? We saw he lost some time going through here, and OmnipotZ goes all or nothing as he moves into first place, and Pac hesitates and it's costing him. OmnipotZ is in the lead but doesn't get that great of a line, and now Danik is flying ahead. Danik side by side with OmnipotZ. He's going to try and keep the gear, but he has to release as a result of him going too close to the outside. And OmnipotZ is going to win the round, and he's going to get himself within one of finalists on his own map. What a time there once again, a 105.33, and the old veteran of this match so far, he's not done yet. Do you think we're going to see a triple finalist?
I have a feeling that we are not gonna see a triple finalist, but yeah, OmnipotZ has not given up yet, but it's gonna be extremely difficult for him to win another round.
Yeah, we've saw how good the pace is and how high the level is between these players, and it really will be a testament to his skill if he does manage to take these next 2 rounds. But he does have some of the very best players in tech to go up against here, and DanikB and Pac are starting the round with an advantage here. Going through this long left-hander, we're going to be starting a decisive section soon here, with Pac the one having the advantage here. We've seen he's been the one who's primarily been having trouble going through as Danik makes a mistake, and now it is all on OmnipotZ's. Pac this time performs it very expertly, and now has a 2/10s gap here. Almost enough where he can afford to save here. Is he going to be able to make it through the final sections unscathed? Goes for a very wide jump here, will lose a little bit of time. What has OmnipotZ got left here? Not a lot, but Pac's so close to the wall here. Can anything be done in this final turn here as Pac goes nice and safe here, as he should be able to hold on to this 10 points and a finalist. Pac will be your second grand finalist. CarlJr and Pac will make it through. DanikB and OmnipotZ have to settle for a consolidation finalist spot. They are not out yet, however, but what a match between 4 incredible Trackmania players.
What a game of Trackmania 2 Stadium that was. But yeah, in the end we saw kind of the expected outcome. We all expected Carl to make it, and Pac, yeah, he showed the experience he's got. I'm a bit sad for Danik because he was the unlucky guy in this match. Let's not deny that, because he lost the rounds in the endings by very small margins, and it eventually cost him a lot of points. Yeah, so I'm sad that this was the case, but yeah, he's not over yet, and I'm pretty sure if he performs like this in the consolation final, that we will see him in the grand final for sure.
And Eirik, I mean, coming out of such a real high level match there, I mean, you've got to still hold your head high from being part of a match like that, but that was definitely something to see.
Yeah, that was a really, really good match, and I hope to see DanikB in the grand final again, but now he has to refocus. Now he got the first defeat of the tournament so far. He had won all of the matches leading up to this one, so let's see if he can regather his head and win or take second in the consolidation final. But CarlJr to me is gearing up a little bit by bit and seems to be a hard man to beat in Trackmania as usual.
Yeah, as expected. But to bring you in this, Kappa, just while we wind some things down, while we catch our breath before we chuck it over to our other lovely casters who are going to be bringing us the later stages of this event. I mean, when you get knocked down to the loser bracket, it's such a crucial stage, and in such a fashion like that DanikB and OmnipotZ had. How were you feeling when you go into a consolidation final, when you have, you know, kind of had that kind of invincible aura almost? You've kind of had that beaten, so to speak. How would you say that feels going into that sort of stage?
Is there a break between this match and the consolidation final?
Let me have a look for you. Consolidation final will take place at 8 o'clock, so yeah, nice long break for them.
Oh, so there's a long break. Yeah, well, it depends how well Danik and OmnipotZ use this break, you know, if they are able to reset their mind, and if they care too much about this innocent, you know, state of mind. Like, being beaten is never good, but as long as they look at it the way that you always have to 2 lives, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they should just accept it. And honestly speaking, like losing to Carl and Peg is never something to be embarrassed of, you know. So and they both put a very good fight. So next time is the charm for them, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. But to give you guys a bit of an update on how the other matches went in the loser bracket round 8, Soldier was bottom of the field on 93 points. Carl was also eliminated on 94 points. McQuattro qualified second and Novus qualified first. And in the other match, Nevermind was bottom on 89 points. Flyer third and 97 points. So we say goodbye to both of those players. Dexter second on 102 and Tween first on 103, but it looks as if Tween had a dominating performance in that match and secured the win relatively early, it looks like. But I mean, looking at that, so the last match we will have before the break will not be done by ourselves, but we'll bring you to that in just a second. The loser bracket final coming up at 6 p.m. I want to get your guys' thoughts on that. That's going to be Novus, McQuattro, Tween and Dexter. First of all, I mean, Kappa, that's a hell of a matchup even in an upper bracket you would expect, but we're seeing it so late stage in the tournament. We're seeing some of these players facing each other for the first time. What do you expect from that?
Well, most of my analysis is based on the experience from the previous tournaments, and I still don't know what to expect from Novice, especially about his mentality, because he has lost the first match of the tournament for him, and I don't know how he can deal with that. You know, it's as you said, it's never the same after you lose one match in the tournament, and I still don't know how Novice deals with stuff like that, even though for me on paper he's still the second biggest favorite in that match. So if he plays what he's capable of, I would see him going through to the Consolidation final. I want to see a bit more of Dexter, because we saw him in the winner bracket semifinal, I think it was.
Yep.
He was good. He was quite fast. He was also consistent, but the level of the match was a bit, out of his capabilities. But I think he'll be fast enough in this one match. And yeah, I obviously want to see Tween go through, and I would love to tell him a few words before this match, but I think he has all it takes to maybe even dominate that match. Maybe McQuattro is a little bit of underdog there. But yeah, probably Tween and Novice are the favorites.
And what's your impressions going into the stage we'll actually be able to watch, Eirik?
Well, it's sad that this adventure had to come to an end. I enjoyed myself sitting in the back and listening to you doing play-by-play, and to have finally an expert joining you at the side. But I think Kappa is dead on. I think Tween is the biggest favorite, and Novice is the second biggest favorite in that match. And McQuattro has to find himself as an underdog. Dexter can be make or break. He can be dominant, and he can also be, let's say, he can be sort of like a massa guy. He can do really well, or he can crumble under pressure. So my bet will be Tween and then Novice. I think it's decent betting day today. 66%. So maybe that's a good day for me as well.
Well, it's better than what our normal betting days are, shall we say. But I mean, at least for me in this, I'm very much looking forward to seeing these matches. It's going to be nice to at least watch instead of having to worry about playing or casting. So I'm grateful at least that seeing as Apple and Turbo are going to be taking over the cast. Thank you very much everyone for watching. I will also thanks to Eirik, of course. It's always great fun when we're together on a cast, and also it's been a great privilege to be joined by, of course, the world champion, the expert himself, Mr. Krompolc. It's been an absolute pleasure, and of course I'll be always happy to cast with you guys going forward. But is there anything final you guys would like to say before we then chuck it over to our lovely casters for the remainder of the event?
Well, I want to thank you, Scotty, for having us, especially for having me. It was a nice experience. Sadly, we cannot cast the further matches, but yeah, as you mentioned, it's their privilege because they also casted the yesterday's matches, and I'm pretty sure that you guys will enjoy the cast at least as much as you did ours. So Hopefully this is not my last experience, but yeah, then again, I always prefer playing the tournaments over casting. So as long as my wrist is healthy, it's probably far in the future to see me again casting. But yeah, I would definitely be down for that once again. Thank you.
Not a problem. We'll always be happy to have you. Anything else, Eirik? Okay, well apparently not, but thank you everyone for joining us. I will attempt to get this uploaded to YouTube for you guys. I'll do my